Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Any items from the public?
How you doing, Mr. President?
Doing well, Mr. President.
Hey, Doug Copenhaver, I just wanted to personally come up here and invite.
Hey, can you move that back just a little bit?
Just personally invite y'all to the Apollo Civic Theater on June the 8th. Thank you, June the 8th, 7th, 8th. All right. As you know, we've been working on the film, The First Step, for 6 years, and with Van Jones and Kim Kardashian, President Trump, and all that. So that film took 2 years for them, the filmmakers, to film, and it took 1.5 years to edit. It's been out throughout the United States for over 1 year now. It's on Amazon. Unfortunately, you have to pay for it, but it's there. So you get to come to Martinsburg, make a night out of downtown Martinsburg, and we're also treating it as a fundraiser that night. I think there might be a ticket price, and then hopefully people will have an open heart and give to the recovery efforts of. Some of them will go to adult drug court because Supreme Court doesn't give them. They give them money, but they don't give them. That money is heavily regulated to what they can and can't do with the money. So this would be money that they have. Seems like they have some better options, but they can't use those options because they don't have any money. And we all know Stephanie Stout has a nonprofit that reintroduces people back in to the workforce after recovery. So that's going to be part of it. But I just wanted to personally come down here and invite you all to please be there. The Apollo holds 500 people. Tell anybody and everybody, and I'd love to see the Apollo filled up on that.
Doug, thank you for coming in and letting us know. I know it's been a passion of yours over the last several years. We have managed to do remarkable things, and it's been the effort that you have and your passion that has made it a success. And thank you for all you've done.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you all for doing everything you all have done. Berkeley County is the leader in the state of West Virginia on the recovery effort. So,
and we plan on continuing to do it. So
I hear that. So, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good.
What time is that?
7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
I think it's June the 8th at 7 o'clock. But yeah, it's on the radio. Talking on the radio. I was on both radio stations. One today, one yesterday. The newspaper will do an article shortly when I get done here. But it's when they chose me out of like 75 interviews, and I was one of the 5 from West Virginia. I kind of thought that maybe it was okay. It's going to be looked upon and won't be seen by many people, but for the film to be so well done by the Kramer brothers, to be able to be on Amazon, it's something special. And the big thing, Councilman Boyd, is it takes addiction from West Virginia, South Central LA, and the groups are coming together trying to help each other there. But then to see Van Jones cross party lines and go to President Trump in the White House to try to get prison reform bill passed, which got passed, to allow people to get out of federal prison that was in there for a very long time under the 3 strikes rule and you're out, and reunite them with the family members. And you've all heard me say this. We treat addiction the wrong way. We treat it like it's a crime and it's really an illness. But for years, you got treated by going to prison or going to jail. So I think the film really came together very nicely, and I think you'll also see a different side of Van Jones that you've never seen before. Hope to see you.
All right, Doug. Thank you so much.
Have a successful meeting.
That's my plan today. Any other items from the public?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
President Hunter Wilson, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I know you all are going to take up subdivision regulations later in the day. to my knowledge, and I've checked with some of the other people, last time there was a developers roundtable when Heather Williams was still the planner. If I'm wrong, someone can prove me on that, but I don't think there's been much input from the development community in these new regulations. And I would ask that, before you try to do just two men, I would ask that you all would sit down and work with the development community. We're the ones that have to work with the rules and regulations.
Just as a point of clarification, we're not asking the council to take action today.
I know you aren't. That's the reason I'm not getting into the specifics of the.
The only thing we're asking the council to do, ask for us to do is to let us disseminate the information and do public hearings to get everyone's input.
No, and I
over the next
understand it
45
because
days. So
a number of people have asked for the ordinance ahead of time to read it, and that it's not been handed out. So
this council has never not provided the information.
I
So
understand that, sir. Usually in the past, you were able to get it ahead of time. It's a lengthy document that you just don't read it in 5 minutes.
Well, and the other thing is, I spoke to Mr. Davis about it, instead of having a 30-day period, we'll extend that to 45 days to give the engineering firms a little bit extra time to look at it.
And I would ask that you all direct your staff to meet with the development community. Let them work on their differences so that when it does come out in public hearings, there's less going around in circles and more cooperation between the two groups. That's all I'm asking. That's all I got.
Okay.
You all have a great meeting.
All right. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Any other items from the public? If not, can I have a motion to approve the agenda if there's no modifications or changes?
Yes, sir. Mr. President, motion to approve the Thursday, May 25th, 2023 agenda.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Purchase order log. Any questions for Tracy? No, no questions. Internal budget revisions. Alan, can you give us a
Sir, I
review?
have 5 internal budget revisions and also 11 encumbrance requests for your consideration today. As the council's aware, last Friday was the deadline for department heads and elected officials to submit their encumbrance requests. We received a total of 13 encumbrance requests, 2 of which you have already presented to you, so I have 11 to go over with you today. First, the internal budget revision requests, all submitted by Tim Zaya, who is the Director of the Division of Community Corrections. The first is for Department 705, Home Confinement. Mr. Zaya is requesting that he be allowed to decrease line 221, training and education, by $300. Current unencumbered fund balance is $9,073 with 9.3% spent to date. And increase line 223, professional services, by $300. That line item currently has a deficit balance of $255. The next 3 requests are for Department 731 Day Report Center. Mr. Zaya is requesting that he be allowed to decrease line 230, contracted services, by $4,300. Current unencumbered fund balance is $46,266.22 with 56.7% spent to date. And increase line 214 travel by $4,300. That account currently has a deficit balance of $4,248.03. The next request for the Day Report Center is to decrease line 230 contracted services by $1,500. Current unencumbered fund balance again is $46,266.22. And increase line 222 dues and subscriptions by $1,500. That line currently has a deficit balance of $752. The final request for the Day Report Center, again, is a reduction in contracted services of $100. Increased postage line 218 by $100. That account currently has a deficit balance of $35.71. And then the final request for Mr. Saya is for Department 802, which is your Recovery Resources Center. Mr. Zaya is requesting that he be allowed to decrease line 214 travel by $500. Current unencumbered fund balance is $2,574.24 with 14.2% spent to date. An increase line 223 professional service by $500. That account currently has a deficit balance of $455.
And that'll cover until the end of the year?
We'll, over the next couple weeks, we'll cut off internal budget revisions in about three or four more meetings. We'll be getting a lot of these as we tweak it. So,
But these accounts will be okay to the end of the year.
I can't sit here and look at you in the eye and say absolutely positively, but he has enough in these money we can transfer around.
Yeah, but I would.
Yes, sir.
Would think that if he's transferring money, he would ensure that the line item has enough to
Yes, sir.
handle future spending until, July 1.
All righty.
The 11 encumbrance requests that you have before you, 2 have been submitted by Chief Court Marshal Mike Lang. The remaining 9 have been submitted to you by Sheriff Nathan Harmon. The first encumbrance request is for Department 416, which is court security. As you know, we added 4 more employees to the transportation division to help with mental hygiene transports. Unfortunately, when they were loaded into the system, they were all loaded under 416 and not under the separate line 801. And you'll see when we do state budget revisions, I'm actually moving all the salaries and benefits from 801 back to 416 to get us through this year. It's been corrected for next year, but this is all related to the transportation division. So 416, Mr. Lang's requesting that he be allowed to encumber $377.60 out of the uniform line item, line 345, to buy transportation division uniform shirts to finish up the uniforms for the transportation division. And the second encumbrance request is to purchase the 4 ballistic resistant vest for the transportation division deputy court marshals in the amount of $3,746. The next 4 requests are for Department 409 from Sheriff Harmon. That's 409 is the sheriff's tax processing department. All of these, it has no salary. If you'll recall, 409 has no salaries. It's nothing but supplies and services in support of the tax bills. You'll see that the first request is for line 230, requesting encumbrance of $30,846.38 for tax statements, processing, printing, and mailing. Current unencumbered fund balance in that account is $39,241.76. And for the council members that have been here through this process, this is software systems. They do all the tax bill processing. They mail it for us. So this is all related to the 2023 tax bills. Now that you've laid the levy rates, we're in the process of updating all of that. The next request is same Department 409, line item 341, supplies and materials. Sheriff Harmon's requesting that he be allowed to encumber $4,136 for 15 boxes of number 10 envelopes. Current unencumbered fund balance is $24,187.12. The next request is, again, 409, Department 409, line 220, advertising and publications. There's documentation in your read ahead from the Martinsburg Journal. The cost of the May 31st delinquent tax publication list is $48,300. Again, we know that every year this comes up, we advertise delinquent taxes twice a year, so this is the final delinquent tax publication for the current fiscal year. Again, $48,300. Current unencumbered fund balance in that line item is $105,428. The next and final encumbrance for Department 409, again, line item 230, contracted services. Encumbrance request is for $2,393.45. That's for software systems to do the 2023 tax year software conversion. Again, after the previous encumbrance requests, the unencumbered fund balance will be $8,395.38. The final 5 requests from Sheriff Harmon are all for Sheriff's Department law enforcement. First request is line 341, supplies and materials. Sheriff Harmon is requesting that he be allowed to encumber $12,300. This is to pay for the remaining ammunition purchases that you approved back in November, December. We went through the competitive bidding. We're purchasing that ammo from Mountaineer Cartridge. Current unencumbered fund balance is $73,400.22. The next 3 requests are all for 345 uniforms. Sheriff Harmon's requesting that he be allowed to encumber $3,489 for Honor Guard uniform coats. Current unencumbered fund balance is $35,812.57. The next request, again from uniforms, is for Class A uniform hats, again for the Honor Guard. The amount of that encumbrance request is $1,159.16, with the new unencumbered fund balance taking off the Honor Guard uniform codes being $32,323.57. And then the final request for uniforms is $12,692 encumbrance for ballistic resistant vests. As you know, the vest and the panels, they actually have an expiration date on the panels. So every year, and rather than go out and buy all of the required vest and replacement panels, we have those on a rotation. So this is just the normal annual rotation, not only for some of the replacement plates for the vest, but also some new vests for some of the newer deputies that have come on board. Again, the unencumbered fund balance would be $31,164.41. And then the final encumbrance request from Sheriff Harmon, line 221, training and education. Encumbrance request is $1,680. There is a a nationally recognized law enforcement course being offered locally at the Holiday Inn on June 14th. So it's local. So there will be no travel, no lodging, but the sheriff would like to send 12 of his senior deputies to the one-day leadership training at the Holiday Inn. His current unencumbered fund balance in training is $25,647.01. All of these requests were made in accordance with your encumbrance policy, and I would recommend approval.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
How many envelopes come in those 15 boxes?
You know,
That's $275 a box.
$5,000 to a box.
75,000
Yeah.
envelopes.
And that will do them for the year.
Okay.
I'm saying cheap.
Nope. Let's see, we have change in status. A new hire recommendation received from Tim Zaya, Community Corrections Director, for Richard McQueen as a home confinement officer with an annual salary of $43,135 effective May 30th, 2023. New hire recommendation received from Gary Wine, Deputy County Administrator, for Christopher Bragg as a fleet specialist with an annual salary of $46,749 effective June the 5th, 2023. A new hire recommendation received from the Honorable Larry Hess, Assessor for Ashley McDonald as a personal property clerk with an annual salary of $31,500 effective May 25th, 2023. Change in status received from Jennifer Swisher, Emergency Communications Director for Allison Litton. She is receiving a step increase for years of service. Her salary will go from $61,825 to $63,061 effective June 1st, 2023. Change in status received from the Honorable Sheriff Nathan Harmon for Stephen Tyler Dobson. He is going from deputy to corporal. His salary will go from $65,802 to $69,045. That was effective March the 17th, 2023. And if there's no other changes there, we have the approval of the minutes for May the 11th. Everyone was present, so you don't have to pull those. Council calendars. Get them here. Okay, we're here today, May 25th. Let's see. Tonight, this evening at 5 p.m. we have an ambulance authority meeting, and 5 p.m. library board will be closed on Monday the 29th. On the 30th at 5 p.m. sewer district, 6 p.m. stormwater. Nothing on the 31st or the 1st. Is there any additions or corrections or cancellations? No? We're good to go then? Alrighty. Cancel check request from the clerk's office. We have that. And need to approve the consent agenda. Anybody make a motion there, please?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda for May the 25th, 2023.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Mr. Hess, nothing here today. And board of meeting reports. Mr. Boyd.
Had a couple meetings this week. I met with the Landmarks Commission on Monday. They've been working diligently on the to get the museum board building on King Street listed under historic landmarks. They got most of that paperwork done. They just need a letter of endorsement from you, which you received this morning.
Yep.
And hopefully with that signature, we'll be able to get that building listed, and that'll be good moving forward with the museum there. They've been working with the Morgan Cabin people as usually, say things are going well with that relationship right now. In the past, that's been an issue, but all that is going well. They are having a little bit of difficulty with paying their insurance because, they have to carry insurance on a lot of different places, and they really don't have an income. We're the ones that carry their insurance, so I don't know if they'll be coming to talk to us or not. But the Cool Font Farm across from the Morgan Cabin, I guess insurance went up.
Cool Spring.
Cool Springs. Cool Springs Farm. And some other things. That was the only major issue that they were discussing. And then I also had the home
Consortium.
sourcing meeting on Monday morning. Things are moving pretty well there. After last month's meeting, they were having a problem meeting the requirements to get people assistance, to get first-time home buyer assistance program that they have, because they have $1 million+ for that. But with the price of housing and incomes not fitting the requirements, it's been hard. So I put them in contact with a gentleman that has some property in Inwood, Mr. Maynard. He also owns a skating rink here in town. He was interested in possibly developing his property there in Inwood for affordable housing development. So they have now started a Berkeley County Affordable Housing Development Board that I've been graciously put on to. But we'll be working with that to try to get that development underway and figure the requirements so that then we could begin to use this money that they have to get people into affordable housing, because as you know, there's not much of anything affordable housing in Berkeley County right now. So that project is moving along. I had a phone meeting with Robbie from Main Street to follow up after the wine festival and see how things were going there. It went pretty well. There was some new regulations through the ABC that were a little sticky, that haven't really been pushed in the past, but there's a new ABC inspector. And so I think they'll need to look to legislation for help on that in the future, because it really hindered some of what they could do with sales at the event. Things contradict themselves. You have farm market wineries that can sell wine by the bottle, but people can't open it, but can't sell by the glass. But then the licensed Main Street can sell by the glass, but can't sell a bottle. And it's just confusing for the people who are at the event, for the people working the event. So there's just some things that need to be touched up, I think, on the ABC laws, but we'll have to reach out to some of the legislators and see if we can't get that fixed in the next session coming up. And they're looking possibly for maybe getting some new members and things. The farmers market's running and coming along well. It should be opening here in June. They did find somebody to be the director of that this year, and they're also someone who is a participant in it. So that is a win-win in that situation, because they are one of the farmers that is the wife of one of the businesses that will be participating. So they'll be there every week, and they're invested in what it is. So it's a good person for the position. The original person they had gotten that took another job. So that has been landed. So the farmers market is moving forward. And that's what I have to report.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Barnhart.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. My meeting was the Berkeley County Public Service and Water District. They had a review and approval of the main membrane procurement agreement. The membranes for the River plant and the Bunker Hill plant do not qualify for federal aid because they're not made in the good old USA. They're all made out of the good old USA, which means they can't get federal funds for them. So they have to, and that's $7 million. So they have to do that conventionally. So they did that. They executed the contract for Snyder Environmental Services for the construction of the Pikeside water mains for a sum of $7,280,000. This is pricey stuff. Let me see. And then, if I can find it, and of course I can't, there it is. 69 new meters were installed in April. The total for fiscal year is now 997. So the rate of expansion of the county is the same as it has been pretty much. I don't know how that's going to be in the future because they've had virtually no requests for mainline extension agreements. Services, yes, but mainline extension agreements, there's been nothing coming through for a couple months. I believe that's about it.
Okay.
That is about it.
That's about it.
That's about it. That's all I got.
Good enough. Mr. Catlett.
I wanted to compliment Councilman Barnhart on his dress for Memorial Day weekend in honor of his flag. And
Hey, run me up a flagpole and salute.
yeah, his socks look just the same, and he offered to show me his underwear, but I passed on that one. So. But and to HD, that's 5.5 cents per envelope, so that's a pretty good price.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I looked
they
it
had
up.
really good music at the wine festival.
Yeah.
My nephew's band played there. So.
Yeah, I looked up the envelopes, 500, but it actually is a pretty good price.
Yeah.
Tracy keeps a pretty close eye on it.
Thank you, Tracy.
That's why I was just asking how many were in the box, because,
I attended a conference call with Anthony and Eddie on this Catholic Charities quarterly meeting, and I really thought going into that they were going to talk about people coming here from the southern border, but it wasn't that situation at all. In fact, the few people we've had 25 people in the last 5 years in Berkeley County, and there's a new family coming, but they're from Ukraine, most of them, some from other countries, Afghanistan, but none from the southern border was mentioned at all. So, other than that, it was a struggle to stay awake during the meeting, but we managed to do so. We had a senior services meeting yesterday. They're working on changing their bylaws, particularly in regards to term limits for the board members. And we are currently down 2 board members at this time from, initially we're supposed to be appointing 12 people to that board, but there's only 10 serving. So, but we'll be given the opportunity to approve those bylaws at some point here in the next month or so. I'm looking forward this afternoon to meeting with the West Virginia DOH at the Jefferson County Department of Highways. It's at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Should be a very interesting meeting. Lee Thorne will be there heading the meeting. He's the District 5 head honcho out of Burlington that regulates all the road work here in our area in Berkeley County. We have, as Jim mentioned, an ambulance authority meeting this evening at 5 here in the council chambers. Last Thursday evening, I had the pleasure to attend the Boys and Girls Club dinner, and they honored Charlotte Norris, our own Magistrate Bill Norris's wife, as the honoree for the Stephanie Pearson Champion for Youth Award. Well attended and very good cause to raise funds for the Boys and Girls Club. Saturday, I had the opportunity to attend a function for Mac Warner, and I got some time with Mac Warner one-on-one for about 20 minutes after the meeting, and had an interesting conversation in the fact that if you are governor, what will you do for Berkeley County? So great conversation. And tomorrow I'll be attending a ceremony on Tavern Road honoring Shug Kisner, who was former sheriff, also a former county commissioner, and they're naming the bridge there on Tavern Road near the Little League entrance in his honor. So looking forward to that.
What time is that tomorrow?
It's at 11, and I've been asked to say a few words, so I look forward to that.
Good.
Work with Shug over the years in various aspects. So that's it.
Okay. Mr. Gokenine.
Yes, sir. As Mr. Catlett stated, the Catholic Charities conversation, there are only 109 refugees in the state that they represent and support, 25 in Berkeley County, and all of these folks are pre-approved by the U.S. government to come here as refugees. So there is a process for them to go through, and which, I think all of us appreciate that there is a process for these folks to go through to get to come to this country for various reasons. Yesterday, along with Mr. Catlett and Mr. Wine, we attended a school board meeting where we spoke about a lot of things of interest to both agencies, and growth was the topic of most of the conversation. They're also going to assist us in the educational portion of the licensing that we're pushing for right now. So that's a good partner to have there. As Steve mentioned, 1 o'clock today at the Department of Highways, we'll be going to Jefferson to have that discussion. And I will also be on the radio on the 30th, WRNR. I've been asked to come on there, so I'll be there. And also tomorrow 11 with the bridge dedication for Shug. So look forward to that. Very good. Very, very good for him.
Okay, I had no meetings to report on this week or last week. Next on the agenda is Vivian Parsons with West Virginia Corporate Border Risk Pool, which I did have a meeting in Roanoke last Friday morning, but Vivian can enlighten us a little bit on part of that. So
I'll do my best.
it was a 7-hour drive for a 2-hour meeting.
But a good news.
It was, yeah.
Good news is that the pool is growing.
Thank you.
And I'm sitting here listening and thinking how much over the years that I've been coming and visiting Berkeley County in different capacities. The growth that I've seen and the growth that you're dealing with, and every time I'm here, I see new things, and it's just amazing that you guys are doing well, and that's wonderful for Berkeley County and for West Virginia as a whole. I'm here today to represent the West Virginia Risk Pool, and President Whitaker is on our board of directors, and so I'm sure that he keeps you up to date on a lot of this information. But I thought I would share, the first thing I would share is just our map there. This was printed as of April 1st, and we are close to 90 municipalities now, still have 50 of the 55 county members. I haven't lost anybody. We're about at 90 municipalities, and we're well over 140 boards and authorities. When I was reporting to the board last week, I was adding to that list as I was speaking. So things are rolling right along for the pool. In fact, you notice that there is no star in I guess that would be Berkeley and Jefferson, but we have actually picked up Harper's Ferry in May. So we are starting to put stars up here in the Panhandle. We also have Pawpaw in Morganton. So sorry, I have a really loud voice, so I was trying to not yell into it. So yeah, the growth is there, so much so that again for the third year, the board was able to approve a price rebate back to the members based on the percentage of premium that you pay into the total. You get a portion of that back as you renew your policy. So we're really proud of that, and things are going well. I thought that I would quickly, I know you have a lot on your agenda, and I won't take up a lot of your time, but I brought you some brochures, and that I would quickly just hit on some of the things. I'm going to skip things that aren't really, we don't need to discuss. The local government coverages, that's just a list of everything we have. Property valuations is right behind that. And when you join the pool, the risk pool, we send someone out to appraise your property, and we supply then a report back to the governing body. And once we do that, then we try to get you on a 5-year rotation. We have been a little behind because of the pandemic and getting our folks out, but we're trying to catch up now. And when they come out, they look at properties valued at $75,000 and over. So try to share that information with you, keep you current on the values that you have, and keep us current as well.
And we use that appraisal often. We refer to that. In fact, we just referred to it this weekend. This week we're looking at 750 Baltimore. We do use it.
Wonderful. Next thing there I'll mention is cyber risk coverage, and I do believe that you guys have your own silo of coverage above the initial amount that's included in the policy. It was included in the policy at no cost to the members, $250,000 in the aggregate. Back in 2013, for 5 years we had no claims, so we were really ahead of the curve. Of course, that's not today. Today we're seeing a whole lot more action in that field, and so the good news is that we have been able to maintain our coverage. We haven't excluded anything. There's no sublimits. There's still no deductible on the cyber coverage. And when you purchase excess limits like Berkeley County has done, that's your own silo of coverage. And so we've had really good reports from other pools who have asked our CEO, our administrator, Chris Carey, to come and speak about our program because it is second to none out there. There's just no better coverage available in. Yes.
It's been in other states, even on the West Coast, that they have looked to him as far as how we do cyber coverage here or in the pool.
Yes.
So he's pretty much in the know of what's going on. So.
We're pretty proud of the program.
Yeah.
The second thing there for your administrative folks is just a list of what to do if you suspect that you have a cyber incident. The biggest thing I want you to take from 7 different things listed there is number 2, call us. Call us immediately, whether it be during work hours, after work, on the weekend, we have a cybersecurity coach available for you. She is an attorney that we contract with. She does nothing but cyber issues, and she's very well versed in the cyber field. So she will coach you through what to do, how to best protect yourself. So the biggest takeaway from that is call us immediately. I also threw in a backing up your data. It's suggestions on how to keep your backup copies current. That's a new brochure. The next one I threw in is online member portal. Your staff takes care of filing your claims, and they're very familiar with everything that you can do on the portal. I like to point out to governing bodies, just so that you know, you do have a private portal with us. It is password protected. And so you can get to everything about your insurance information at that portal. You can print reports of your claims, both property and workers' comp. You could print that annually and look at trends that you might see happening and how best to address those. You file your claims online. Once you have a claim filed, you can get in using the claim number and review everything about that claim, be it the details, the financials, even the rolling diary of the claims adjuster. So that's at your fingertips. You don't see that with the commercial world, but in a pool, you own the pool, you own the assets of the pool, the information in the pool belongs to the members. So we make it all available to you. There are also a number of site tools where you can pull down your schedules and always review your schedules. It shows what we have on our files for you, the values, the deductibles, be it property, be it vehicles, inland marine. So it's all there for you. There's a lot of risk resource materials available there as well. And I'll talk just very briefly. The next brochure is about our risk control services. And those of you who've been around for a while know that that's an important part of the pool. When we created the pool back in 2007, it was based on 3 principles. One was price stability. And in order to keep that price stability, risk control was extremely important for all the members to participate in. So as the management company, we spend a lot of time and effort to provide you the tools to do that at no additional expense to our members. The second thing is that you have good customer service, and the third is that it's tailored to local government needs. We don't insure anybody except local governments and their agencies. So we feel like we can do a good job on all 3 of those principles. The employee training brochure that you will see next, if you look on the back of it, I put it in just to give you, this is not an all-inclusive list by any means, but it lists a number of the training topics that we have available. We can come out and do those in person, and we have worked with Alan over the years to do a lot of that here. And we are still doing it in person. COVID slowed us down with that. We were locked down like everybody else, and we had to rev up our online presence, which we have, and I'll talk about that in a second. But we are back out there now, and our risk management folks are back on the ground and coming and providing all those things in person again. Law enforcement training is the next brochure I stuck in here because we have a very robust law enforcement training program. It is delivered by a former law enforcement officer himself. He's a retired city police officer. So we think that holds a lot of credibility with the law enforcement personnel. If you look on the back of that one, you'll see the criteria. We've been able to get it approved through the state police in Charleston that oversees their continuing education credits. They are required to have 16 hours every 2 years, and through our program, we can provide up to 14 of those hours. We can come to you to do it. There's no cost for you involved. So share this information with your law enforcement office. I don't know, have we worked with your law enforcement?
We have.
Great.
Several years ago, when we were experiencing a lot of vehicular accidents, you actually came in and worked with us.
Wonderful. Yeah, I don't actually do the training. We have risk control folks who come out and do that. So sometimes I go out and sell it and keep them busy, but I'm not there when they do the training. One of the things that they do, and that the council might find interesting, we sometimes have the members of governing bodies who come and participate. We have the ability to hook to one of your own cruisers virtual driving, and it's always interesting to sit down in that seat and put the hood on and see how your reflexes are when something comes at you from the side. So that's something that we do as part of the law enforcement training as well. And we always invite you if you would be interested in sitting down and seeing how that might feel. I don't think I would want to sit in that seat. The third thing, or the next thing there is, I told you we ramped up our online presence during COVID. We have subscribed to a program that is called Safety Source, and that's all video library, not done in-house, but it's a video library company, and we subscribe for you. There's no cost to you. On that sheet, you'll see the username and password that I've provided. You can go on there and you can, by key topic, by keyword, pull up whatever is available on a particular subject. It'll give you, beside that, the time limit for each of those videos. So if you're looking for a 15-minute video for a safety training meeting, something like that, you can preview them, and then if you want to use something, you can download it using our password. So we want to just, we resorted to that when we couldn't get out as much, and we've left that in place, and we want to give you all the tools possible to manage your risk the best you can. You'll see there on that same page a number of folks listed. Chris Ballard is actually our manager in risk control, and we've put their contact information, so if you have interest in one of these topics, or if you are looking through this stuff and you have a topic and you don't see it there, let us know. That's how we develop criteria, is when several of our members are interested in the same thing, then we know that there's a need out there. So we're always developing new criteria, and so we may already have it, it's just not printed on the brochure. So always contact us. And John Bowling there is the senior public safety specialist. He's the retired police officer who provides our law enforcement training. Another thing I wanted to point out and make sure, I'm sure that Alan is aware of this and his staff, but I want to make sure that the commission is aware. If you have county property and you allow events held on those properties by your constituents, you want them to have insurance coverage on a one-day function. Let's say maybe it's a class reunion in one of the county parks. We have a program called Gather Guard. It's not insurance by the pool, but it's placed through the pool so that we can get good rates for your constituents. It's available on the public website under services. You can direct a constituent to that site, and they can fill out an application online, pay online, list you as a third-party coverage, and they can get about $1 million of coverage at around $100. I had a municipal that was looking to, they had a constituent who was looking to have a class reunion recently. They put them in touch with this program, and it cost them $75 for the event. So it's reasonably priced, and we just want to make sure you know it's there to give you another layer of coverage.
That used to be called the TULIP?
Yes,
program.
yes, it was the TULIP program. That was an acronym for something. Please don't ask me to
Yeah.
tell you what it was
I can
for.
just remember the TULIP. So.
Yeah, and I'm terrible with acronyms, but yes, TULIP has been replaced by Gather Guard. Yes, sir.
Question regarding that.
Sure.
This is a little complicated, so I don't expect an answer today from you.
Okay.
Our park system in Berkeley County is different than most. Most park systems are either municipality park system or county-only park system, where here it's three governing bodies, the school board, the city, and county. So they have, over the years, since their existence, have provided their own liability coverage, okay? And it's through BREM.
Mm-hmm.
The negative to that is they only offer $1 million coverage. And I don't know, because of that joint agency situation, if they would even be eligible as an authority under us or our board because of the jointness, because the parks that are in the county are owned by the county, the parks in the city are owned by the city. In fact, there's parks that are owned by the Board of Ed. But my question would be, if there's a lot of events held at the Poorhouse Farm Park, which is county property, and there's people that come in and have special events, would they be eligible for this possibly, even though the park system's under BREM?
Actually, the park, Poorhouse Farm, is owned by us.
It is.
So it actually falls under our policy, so I would suspect.
Yeah.
if you
It
could
would.
check, but
I will
suspect
check on that.
They would be.
That would be a nice opportunity for those groups coming out there, because I know at times it's a lot more expensive than $100 or something like that.
That's what I was just thinking with the roundhouse
Yeah.
too, because we require
Yeah.
everybody who has an event there to get the insurance. And knowing that this is available, that's going to make things a lot easier for people that come there.
So my first question is, would they be eligible, since they're a joint agency? There's two chapters, Chapter 7, Chapter 10, and they're under Chapter 10 because it's a multiple agency creation. Would they be eligible for this
Coverage in general.
total coverage and get away from BRIM, first
Gotcha.
of all? And then secondly, even if they stay with BRIM, like Alan just said, because we own certain properties and there are events held there, would those,
I'm almost positive that they would qualify for the Gather Guard. It's a county-owned property, and they could list you as the third-party insured. As far as insuring the Parks and Recs, because it is a joint agency, I will check on that.
All public funds.
Right, gotcha. And I would think that,
they list the county as a certificate of insurance, so that if they're sued, then the county's covered under their policy, okay? And the city and the Board of Ed as well, but still, it's,
I'll get together with and talk to Steve Rawlings and
Yeah.
see a definitive answer on that.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be happy to,
Even though the municipality hasn't signed on, I would say that, you know,
because the county.
because we can provide it for municipalities, it may be able to cross.
But the city of Martinsburg's not in this program.
Not yet.
And so if we're at War Memorial Park, which the city owns, then obviously they wouldn't be eligible, I wouldn't think, so.
Yeah, I'll check on it. We may be able to.
Peculiar here,
Yeah, not peculiar, just different.
just
Right, in a good way. Yeah, it's always good to hear agencies working across lines together.
Jennifer,
And-
what about the fire service, either career or volunteer? Do you cover?
We actually can cover volunteer fire departments. Our board voted some time back to be able to do that, and we have picked up 3, to my knowledge, at this point, 3 VFDs. So yes, we can.
I just gave Donna your information that you gave me, so
Right.
she has it this morning.
Wonderful.
Betty, are they through BRIM right now?
BFIS,
They're,
and perhaps BRIM, but BFIS covers a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can cover them. Definitely can. And I think you mentioned the Roundhouse. I believe that we have insurance
Oh, yeah,
coverage.
we
with-
have insurance
Okay.
with you. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so
picked
this
up
definitely applies to you. Yeah. And the last thing, any other questions? Don't want to cut that off. Appreciate the questions, and I will get back on the Parks and Rec. The last one I've included is just the truth about risk pools. As new people come on board, sometimes there's questions about how financially it operates and different concerns. And so we have created a little FAQ, and I always stick it in case there are questions about how it is structured and how we insure. Any other questions for me? My background is county government. Those of you who know me, and I've been around a while, I spent 23 years as the executive director for the County Commissioners Association. And when I retired back in 2019, they asked me to come on board with the pool. I was around when we created the pool and served on the pool board as ex officio. I always want to say commissioner. I know it's councilman.
We're changing,
Are you?
yeah, we're changing the commission.
I did not know that.
We have
Well,
a resolution to do pretty
It's on
soon.
your agenda, the resolution's done.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, I'll get it right then,
Yep.
maybe. But yeah, I served on that board for about 13 years, and I insured the association through the pool and filed my claims with the pool. And so I felt really comfortable coming into this position. My background is customer service. And so I want to know if there are problems that come up that you're not happy with. Certainly, you've got my card on every packet that I handed out, and let me know. I know Alan knows how to get in touch with me, and we've talked many times, but I have a bone to pick with Alan because I hear that as of July 1, I won't be able to pick on him anymore. I just want to publicly say, Alan, how much we have appreciated working with you. And I have, and me personally, I've worked with you in the capacity of counties as the administrator up here for years, and also then with the pool. We will miss you. I will miss you. And I'm sure that the good people of Berkeley County will miss you in the council. So thank you for your service. I don't know, how many years is that?
18 here, but 42 public Served
Wow.
42 years in the public.
We're getting pretty close in there. I have 30 with counties, and the clock is
Don't
rolling.
let this youthful appearance.
I know you're like me, you started when you were 5, right? So did I.
It has been my very great pleasure, and I enjoyed my trips to Charleston when you were with the County Commissioners Association, and you've already been very, very welcoming and very attentive to our needs. And I know the risk pool. There have been times when I've called the risk pool that I've been less than pleasant.
Just
and,
doing your job. Just doing your job.
But sometimes we've had sticker shock when we got our renewal, but we've always been able to work through it, and I do appreciate the level of customer service. And we do use your portal all the time. We have to, every other year, we have to file an OSHA 200 report. And we used to have to do everything manually, which reports our occupational injuries and illnesses for the previous year. We pull all the reports right from the portal now, and it's usually broken out between law enforcement and everybody else. And we can slice and dice and filter, and then it's just a matter of transferring the report I pull off the portal right onto into the OSHA 200 form and submitted to the Department of Labor. And it's what used to take us days, we do in an hour or two now, which that in itself has been very beneficial to us.
That's one of my soapboxes as I go out and visit with local governments. Having been with counties in the past, I know that no matter how much money you have, there's never enough money to do everything that you need to do. And so my soapbox is that portal offers a lot of resources that cost you nothing. Take advantage of it. Yeah. Even there are shell documents on there for policies and procedures. If you want to have something new that pops up, you look for it there so you can slice and dice and not have to start from scratch. But
And every once in a while, we'll pick up for like a new polling place, and we provide certificates of insurance for every polling place. What used to be, get on the phone, make a call to the risk pool, they'd have to do it. Now we go on, request the certificate of insurance online, and typically within an hour, we have it and
Response.
we can provide it. So it works. I can't say enough about the customer service and the ease of operation when it comes to dealing with the risk pool.
wonderful. That's what I want to hear. We want to keep it that way. So, thank you guys for time on your agenda. It was also great to get to see Doug this morning too. He's an old, I shouldn't say old face. Don't tell him I said that. He is a face from the, I know you will. You can't wait. A face from the past. How about that?
That's good.
But it's great to see all of you guys. If I can be of help in any way, and Alan, the very best to you. And let me know. Just a couple hours away.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Okay, next on the agenda is Brian Ross, Community Development Director for Subdivision Regulations. I don't know that this says a motion to approve. I think it's just a motion to
If the
accept.
council will remember back in February, March, Jeff and the planning department and the engineering folks not only completed the subdivision regulations, subdivision ordinance updates, but also the stormwater management ordinance. After discussion with the council, you elected to temporarily table the further action on the subdivision ordinance pending action on the stormwater management regulations, which have now been completed, because you really needed that done before you could do subdivision, but you also wanted to do stormwater so we could get it in with as the co-permittee with the stormwater management district. So no action today, please.
Correct, yeah. We'll
No,
take
today we're just here to
present.
present, to have it advertised for public hearing. If the council and to read ahead, I gave a brief description of basically what brought us to this point. If I'll just go through that real quick. In the fall of 2021, a subdivision ordinance rewrite committee was created to review the comments received from citizens, developers, engineers, and surveyors. The committee consisted of Tim Lewis, Planning Commission Vice President, Councilperson Gokenhour, Planning Commission Liaison, Jeff Mozzie, Deputy Legal Director, Doug Smith, County Engineer, and Laura Hoffmaster, Senior Planner. The committee met 8 times between October 21st and March 22nd. The draft subdivision ordinance was revised based on the committee's review of said comments. The committee also revised the verbiage used throughout the draft ordinance to alleviate any future confusion. Items that were not necessary were also removed or made as an appendix. The draft ordinance that was reviewed by the public previously was not drastically changed during this time frame, but was simplified. From March 2022 to October 2022, engineering and planning staff, along with the help of Berkeley County Legal Department, focused on compiling a complete and clean document to present to the Planning Commission. On October 3rd, 2022, the Planning Commission members were provided copies of the draft subdivision ordinance for review and/or comments. On January 17th, 2023, the Planning Commission unanimously voted to recommend the draft 2023 subdivision ordinance to the County Council. And that puts us to where we are today.
Okay. We will have it, and I think we got copies of it, or
You did, but we'll make sure that we redistribute it. We'll give you hard copies on your desk, because I know some, you like to go through
Yeah,
and
I
mark it
like, I
up.
like to mark and write.
On yours, we'll put it on by 11 by 17.
I thought we were gonna have it on poster board for him, so.
And then, I'll get with Penny and we'll schedule, Council Vice President Gokenhour had indicated that, rather than our regular 30-day window, to get the information out, that we use a 45-day window. So we'll schedule time for mid-March, for a public hearing. I assume you'll want to do 11 and 6 like you typically do, and we'll come back next week with some tentative dates.
Mid-March.
I'm sorry, mid-July. I'm
Man,
sorry,
that's
mid-July.
wild.
Yeah, March of 2024.
These are the last 3 steps you just gave.
Excuse me?
Last 3 steps you just read as well.
Fine, Mr. Cattler, you
I'm good.
We're good.
And
Okay.
Mr. Wilson was in this morning and says that there's not been any dialogue through the round table discussion. Please make sure that that occurs.
correct,
Thank you.
no problem.
It'll start, I think, now that we have it in our hands. We'll go ahead and,
Yes, sir.
if y'all want to get a few, discussions together, I'm sure you'll get some valid input, so.
Right, and just so the council knows, Mr. Wilson had a copy of that previously,
Okay. Good enough.
okay?
All right.
As well as the rest of the round table.
Yes,
Yeah, it was available.
So the consensus of the council is to move forward.
Move forward,
and
yeah.
take that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my consensus.
We'll go through it.
Sounds good.
I would suggest,
Yes, sir.
even, we pick the date next week, but it's to have one place, because I think they're gonna put it up online, have one email address to where all the comments can go to, because you have some engineers and developers calling Doug, or Brian, or Laura, me, a council person, just so we can have one place and all the comments.
We could do it like we do with recruitment notices. We could set up an email address that says subdivision, 2023 subdivision, at
BerkeleyWV.org.
berkeley.wv.org.
Yeah, put that, maybe if you send out a letter to the media, or not the media, but the parties interested, we'll get it'd be a good idea to get a separate email set up so it all can be directed and answered there.
okay.
And be a mass.
Can that not come back to the round table?
And what come back there?
The
Comments?
Yeah.
Well, there'll be,
It would be a separate, maybe it'd be
Yeah.
the round table email.
yeah,
We can make it go, we can distribute it. Once those comments come in, we can send them to anybody that we so choose.
But I think having one specific address for everything to go to from comments
Sure.
would be proper way.
I
A better
agree.
way to keep them all consolidated.
Correct.
I think it'd be advantageous though if we all received those comments
Oh, yeah,
as a council members.
it can, mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, the council could be on the distribution list automatically.
once, yeah, because if the comment was received and then there was an answer given to it or,
Well,
discussion.
once it, for example, I'll use recruitment notice, if it comes into, engineer at Berkeley WB, typically it'll go to Julie, so she keeps the applicant log, but then it would go to Brian. So we can set up, we can use one central email address, but then we can decide who is distributed to all 5 of the council people and,
Right.
legal and planning, and we can do that. But that way, that is a good point. That way they're not sending multiple emails. It'll be going to one central email address, but we can distribute it internally to all of the stakeholders.
Sounds good. All righty. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Any other questions for Brian? You good? All righty. We're going to take a quick break here and we'll reconvene shortly. Session, and next on the agenda is Elizabeth from our Grants Administrator. Victim of Crime Act, VOCA Advocate Grant of West Virginia.
Yes. So it's fiscal year 2024 Victim of Crime Act, VOCA, Victim Assistance Grant, State of West Virginia. The potential funding source is West Virginia Victim of Crime Act grant, and it's for a victim advocate position for the prosecuting attorney's office. The duration is 12 months, October 1, 2023 to September 30th, 2024. The total request is $80,188.80. And this year, there is a zero match. A little bit of background. Victims of Crime Act, VOCA, was passed by Congress and signed into law by President Reagan on October 12, 1984. The purpose is to enhance and expand direct services to victims of crime, with special emphasis placed on victims of domestic violence. I'm sorry, I'm having.
You okay? Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Sit down, Elizabeth.
Go on break, Penny. Put us on break. we're back in session. Tracy, you want to kind of finish out there a little bit for
Finish
us?
the background.
Okay. This act is established within the U.S. Treasury as a separate account known as the Crime Victims Fund. The fund is not financed by tax dollars, but is generated entirely by fines, penalty assessments, and forfeited appearance and bail bonds collected by the federal government. The grant will pay for the following. To be hired, one full-time victim advocate position with a salary of $55,000, fringe $22,617, and training that's required for $2,571.80.
Is this for 1 year?
This is 1 year, yes.
And what's the chance of being renewed?
We've looked at other counties and they get renewed. One county that was the pilot county, I think it was Barber, had gotten it for 35 years.
Gee,
Wow.
They continue to get it.
And this is 100% grant
Yeah.
funded.
This is the first time. It's always had a 20% match,
Right.
and this is an exception, this particular year.
Very good. Okay.
And this is in addition to existing staff.
Yes,
Our VOCA folks have been around as long as I can remember. And, you know, every once in a while you'll hear the folks from Child Advocacy or from CASA. And they work hand in glove with law enforcement and with the various agencies, not only for child neglect and abuse, but also, you know, folks that have been adversely impacted by crime. And you can explain a little bit more what they do, but they're a valuable asset to Katie's office as well as to the courts.
Certainly. Cora, who is here with us today, is our current victim advocate. Has been with my office for a year and a half or so, and does an incredible job. But there's a lot of aspects to the position. She coordinates providing updates for our multidisciplinary investigative team about every case of child abuse or child sexual abuse that is currently being investigated in Berkeley County, as well as handling contact with victims of crime, whether it be in magistrate court or circuit court. And that can be a pretty overwhelming task because we might have, a victim who needs Cora to assist them through a murder trial, but at the same time we have two magistrates running who have numerous domestic battery victims and things like that. So an additional position would be, I think, hugely helpful, since as much as we'd like Cora to be able to be in 2 places or 3 places, or if we have 5 circuit judges and a number of magistrates running a number of places at once, it's unfortunately not possible. So I could add anything, but I think that kind of sums up as much as I
Just
can.
confined to Berkeley County?
Yes.
So Morgan would have to have one and Jefferson would have to have one.
Jefferson has, they actually have 2 full-time and 2 part-time victims advocates.
What about Morgan?
Okay.
We have a part-time local.
Before my time.
I was going to say a long time ago.
Yes, I think it
Okay.
was.
Because we had, it sticks in my mind that we had like a position at half.
I think that there was partial grant funding in
Yeah.
the position, but that was before we had the amazing grants department that we all put together to assist.
And, Mike gives us regular updates on the activity at the Judicial Center, and it's right back, if not ahead of where it was at pre-pandemic. So, positions like this are, my only question is, do you have space for it?
That's a concern.
Okay.
We are running out of space. We have some cubicles that were set up that we're using for interns right now,
Okay.
but when it comes to offices, it's a conversation that I need to have with y'all on another day, since we're not just beginning, our running tight on space in the Judicial Center.
Okay. Okay, heard the information. We just need a motion to approve or to accept the grant?
Actually, to apply for it.
To apply for it,
Yes,
okay.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Mr. Davis, state budget revision number.
State budget revision number 11. It looks like a big one. When you first look at it, it's slightly less than 2.2 million. It's $1,915,046. But as you know, periodically throughout the course of the year, because the council does such a great job on being very, very conservative in your revenue projections, we have to go in and we have to adjust those revenue projections to reflect actual. I'll be back for state budget revision number 12. We'll do the final. We had that scheduled for the 15th of June. I'll do the final adjustments for the year because we have to get it into the state auditor's office about 2 weeks before the end of the fiscal year. At that time, we'll do hotel motel tax collections because right now, if you look hotel motel tax distributions, they're actually in a pretty negative, a pretty substantial deficit. It's only because we paid out much more than we budgeted, but it's, as you know, it's just flow through. So I'll be back in next month with the final state budget revision for the fiscal year. This does recognize some of the overperforming revenues, supplemental taxes. The amount previously approved was $425. We're recognizing an additional $200,000, and this is still below what we've actually collected. We're kind of rounding the numbers. Taxes, penalties, and interest increased by $60,000. Property transfer tax continues to be really strong. We're going to recognize and recommending that we recognize an additional $550,000 from property transfer tax. Payment of lieu of taxes, again, another $100,000 in interest earned at 95. Then, of course, our normal refunds and reimbursements of $760,046. Recommending that we distribute $109 to the prosecuting attorney's office. That's for return on an advertisement that wasn't necessary. $78,049. If you look on your detail, you'll see that we had the salaries, FICA, and insurance and retirement for the 4 transportation deputy court marshals that had been assigned to account 801, but they're currently being paid out of 416. So we're just moving that money from 801 to 416 to correct that issue. Probably the biggest movement is we're taking, as approved by the council, $400,000 out of contingency and placing that in the law enforcement budget. $13,626. We actually had one of our cruisers that was T-boned by Martinsburg Police cruiser several weeks ago. Their insurance company refused to total our cruiser, which we thought it should be totaled. So that $13,626 represents repairs to the cruiser. Of course, we're taking the $78,049 out of mental health, and the remainder of that will go into other buildings. The $1,887,651. We're using that right now as a flow-through account. All of our ARPA reimbursements, we're paying the monies out of 988. Our ARPAs, and then as we get the reimbursements from ARPA, we're putting that back in. We're currently running a deficit of slightly less than 3.5 million. But we go to closing on our bond, our 2023A and 2023 bonds next Thursday. They already have our reimbursement, which is a little bit more than $2 million for the LED lighting, which will go back into that account. So that when I do the state budget revision on June 15th, we'll have a $2 million bond disbursement and your 988 account will be flushed to the tune of about $400,000.
And that will set us up fine moving into the new budget
Your
year.
unencumbered fund balance will be strong.
Good.
Yeah, you're in good shape.
Thank you.
Very
Yes,
good.
sir.
Okay, motion to approve state budget vision number 11, Fund 001.
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Juneteenth,
The final matter
2023.
for your consideration, when I presented your holiday schedule to you back in October, November of 2022, I mentioned the fact that previously the state of West Virginia, actually in 2021, for the 2022 holiday schedule, they had put Juneteenth on originally, and then they took it off, and then the 11th hour, like early June, they put it back on, and that I fully expected the governor to do it this year. He did issue a proclamation the end of last week, whereas he recognizes June 17th, 2023 as Juneteenth. The proclamation that he issued was a little different than the ones that he has done in the past. In the past, he's always given the courts, the municipalities, and the counties the discretion as to whether they wanted to recognize it or not. He did not do that in this proclamation. Proclamation states, whereas in acknowledgement of historical significance of Juneteenth and the fact that it's recognized as an official federal holiday, it is fitting and proper that the public employees of this state be permitted to generally cease business on Monday, June 19, 2023. So I'm recommending that we amend your holiday schedule to recognize Monday,
June 19th.
June 19th as Juneteenth, which will correspond with Tuesday, June the 20th, which is West Virginia Day. So county employees will have a 4-day weekend, which is similar to what they did last year.
It's like November.
Yes. And I did receive the administrative order from the Supreme Court of Appeals dated May 17th, where they also are closing magistrate and circuit courts that day.
Very good. Okay. We need a motion for that.
Yes, sir. A motion to accept the recommendation of the county administrator and adopt the proclamation by the governor for June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Executive session.
We need a brief executive session. We know
For-
that the council needs to for
Pending
pending
litigation.
litigation, please.
Okay, I need a motion to go in executive session pending litigation.
So moved.
A motion to have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. We're in executive
Thank you,
session.
Tammy.
his daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, we're out of executive session. Do I have a motion for the president? What was it again, Anthony? I'm sorry.
I've got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I make a motion, we accept the Kroger Mylan pharmaceutical litigation proceeding and give the president the authority to sign on behalf of Berkeley County.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. Mr. Barnhart?
Well, you want executive.
Well, you know what? We got items from the public. Before I do that, who's all going down to the DOH?
I was considering.
Well, we're gonna have a quorum. Does that matter?
You'll be all right.
We'll be all
No,
right?
I'm not going.
You're not gonna make any business.
No,
You
no,
know,
we're just gonna be
business,
up,
no.
okay. We don't have to
What
worry
time
about
does that
that.
start?
1 o'clock.
Any items from the public?
It's down on Lee Town Road.
Hearing none, Mr. Barnhart.
Mr. President, I move to recess.
We are in recess. Thank you, everybody.
No, I got